Hi, welcome to our webinar. We're going to wait another minute, but thanks so much for taking time out of your days to be here with us. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. I'm Suri Deitch, and I'm Dean of the Tulane School of Professional Advancement. And I'm here with my colleague Sheila Gold, who is Executive Director of Recruitment and Admissions, and Ann Conlon, who is behind the scenes changing the slides and just put a message in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. We really appreciate you taking time to join us today for this webinar on undergraduate admissions. So I'm going to talk about the school and the programs that we offer and our services, and then Sheila is going to talk about the admissions process and tuition and financial aid, things like that. And we will see if you have questions. So this is a general webinar about our undergraduate programs. We have specific webinars for individual programs. If you want to learn more about those, this is more about the school in general and what we do. So just to give a little bit of the history, Tulane is an unusual private research university for having started educating working adults very early on in its life. And even arguably, because we are a school that focuses on working adults and applied learning, Tulane itself was founded as an institution to address applied learning and issues in the community, because it was created as the Medical College of Louisiana to fight tropical diseases. So our school and the work that we do is very deep in the DNA of Tulane University. And we're excited that we have that history to build on at the same time as we get to innovate and educate people in a 21st century context, especially relevant right at the moment. So when we talk about SOPA, we talk about these 5 areas when we are presenting ourselves and making an argument for why we think we are such a good option when you're considering going back to school. I'll talk in a minute a little bit more about online, which is, online education is something that all higher education is doing these days, whether by choice or circumstance, and we do it really well. And so we were well positioned for this pandemic. I'll talk about our programs and faculty, which have been developed to be relevant to what's going on in industry, in each of our applied program areas, and then in the humanities and social sciences, where we also have programs where the undergraduate programs, the bachelor's degrees, have been developed specifically to meet the needs of working adults. We'll talk about student support and our academic advisement and other services. We'll talk about the affordability and flexibility of the school, because that's a big focus, given that our target population is highly diverse and from many different backgrounds and circumstances, and also most people who are enrolled in our school are balancing school with many other obligations. And then, of course, we always talk about the fact that we are part of Tulane University, and that all the benefits of being a member of the Tulane community are benefits that students and alumni of our school gain as well. So just to focus for a minute on online, like I said, we have been teaching online for a long time, and we know how to do it well. And we have a great mix of what's called synchronous and asynchronous instruction, where most of the time you're doing the work at your own pace, and some of the time you're meeting, like we're meeting right now, you're meeting with faculty and peer students online, and typically in monthly Zoom sessions. And there's a tremendous amount of interactivity with one another as students and with faculty, whether that's through group projects or discussion boards or live discussions or peer review of one another's work. We find all kinds of ways to communicate with one another and to build relationships as we teach and learn online. In the next slide, we talk some about I guess you could call them our credentials for teaching online, and the fact that we do a lot of it. We teach a lot of students in many classes. We have a couple hundred faculty trained to teach online with a great deal of support to make sure that they know how to do it well, because it's very different from teaching in the classroom. And the fact that we have award-winning programs, and that's one of the markers of quality for us, is the fact that outside entities recognize and acknowledge the quality of what we do online. The programs are on the next slide, and like I said at the beginning, we don't talk in detail about the individual programs during this webinar, but just to say, we offer bachelor's degrees in many different applied fields, and you can see those listed: a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, depending on the field and how the program's structured. We offer post-baccalaureate certificates in many areas, and that post-baccalaureate means that you need to have already earned a bachelor's degree in order to enroll in the program. All the coursework is identical to the coursework that's offered in the bachelor's degree. And then we offer what we call professional certificates, and those are certificate programs, again, made up of courses that are drawn from our curriculum, but for which you don't need to have already earned a bachelor's degree. And much of what we do at the undergraduate level is degree completion. So people who started a degree somewhere else, they might have earned an associate degree at a community college. They might have earned credits at other baccalaureate institutions, and they're coming back to finish their bachelor's degree with us. And in many cases, especially relevant these days, they are finishing their bachelor's degrees with us online. And so we actually have undergraduate students throughout the United States at SOPA who are finishing their bachelor's degrees, finishing their Tulane degrees online. And lots more information is available about these specific programs. We also talk about our faculty. So in this slide, you see 4 faculty members who we just happened to pick out of 200 or so who we could talk about. Our faculty in pretty much every instance have a background working in the industry in which they are teaching. They may be full-time professors with us and completely dedicated to working with our students, or they might be practitioners who work full-time in the field and teach with us maybe a couple of times a year, because they love our students and they love having the opportunity to share their knowledge and share their professional networks with our students. So the 4 faculty that you see on the screen, you see 1 from general legal studies, one from digital design, one from kinesiology, so exercise science and health and wellness, and one from IT, information technology, which includes several different sub areas, including cybersecurity. The two on the right, Tyra Mitchell and Ralph Russo, are full-time faculty, and the two on the left are part-time faculty, and all of them are completely dedicated to our students and will give you a great experience. Again, these are just examples. We also like to talk about our student services because it's not just about getting you enrolled and into the program, but it's also about, for us, about making sure that you're successful academically and that you can reach your professional and personal goals along with your academic goals. So every student at SOPA is assigned an academic advisor who works closely with you throughout your education to make sure that you're taking the right classes at the right time, that you know what your options are, and that to the extent that you're finding challenges in balancing school and work and family and whatever other obligations you have, that we can support your efforts to manage that. We try to create the circumstances where you can be successful academically. We also have dedicated career services within our school that are focused entirely, again, on students who come with a lot of different kinds of backgrounds and who are thinking about how to best build on their work histories and volunteer histories and other experiences to be poised for their next steps professionally. As I said, faculty are an important part of that as well, and faculty bring their professional networks into the classroom and into work with students, and that's one of the benefits that you get of making connections with our faculty. And then, of course, like I just said, the fact that you are permanently a member of the Tulane community. And one of the ways in which you can benefit from being a member of the Tulane community is through access to career development services and opportunities. One of the special features of our school that's particularly relevant for working adult students is credit for prior learning. And so what that means is that in some cases, you can just transfer in credit for previous experiences that you've had as a first responder, perhaps, or through a military service transcript. But we also have a process called portfolio assessment, where we work with you to document your experience, to match it to our coursework and the learning objectives of our coursework, and to develop a portfolio. And once you've developed the portfolio, it's then evaluated by qualified faculty in the field and graded. And you can actually earn up to 24 credits toward a bachelor's degree through this process. And so it saves time and money, but I think most of all, it means that you don't have to take courses in things that you already know well. And that is a great benefit, especially for adult students. With that, I'll turn it over again to my colleague, Sheila Gold.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar, and thank you for taking some time out of your busy day to spend time with us. I'm always honored when folks take time out of their day to listen to the school. We obviously think that we have great programs for everybody, but it's exciting for us to share them with you. So part of SOPA's mission is that we know that our students come from backgrounds that are diverse and also who are managing work, home life, and going to school. And so we target our tuition to be affordable and competitive for students while offering an incredibly challenging and rigorous Tulane education. So we share with our students that our undergraduate per credit hour rate is $524 per credit hour. I always share with students, I recognize that students are very savvy consumers, as you should be, and are most likely looking at our programs along with other programs. When you are making your decision, please keep in mind that SOPA has very few fees associated with our tuition. So we have our tuition rate at $524, and we have nominal fees other than books. Many other schools, you will find that when you add in fees, it can almost double your tuition rate. So we are very proud to share that we don't do that. As an aside, on our website, we do have a tuition calculator that you can use and play with. And many of you may have gotten an email with that link sent to you already. But if you haven't, you can put in how many anticipated credit hours you might be taking per semester, and it will calculate your rate. And you'll have a much more realistic sense of what you would be expecting to pay per semester. Most of our students, the vast majority of our students, apply for financial aid. If you have not done so already and filled out your FAFSA form, I encourage you to do so. At the same time that you're filling out your application for admission, also fill out your FAFSA form and send that into our financial aid office. The FAFSA and financial aid process can take several weeks, and so it's always good practice to do both of those applications at the same time. And there are multiple types of aid that we have available for our students. Federal grants and loans. We are very proud to be a yellow ribbon program school. So we are military and veteran friendly, and we at SOPA offer a 20% discount for active duty military, K through 12 staff, and New Orleans area parish employees. Also, 2 slides ago, or maybe it was the slide before, Suri spoke about the credit for prior learning option. So for those students who have a background and resume and credentials that would qualify for prior learning credit, you can earn up to 24 credit hours for life experience. That means that that's 24 credit hours that you do not have to pay for. So we do consider that also part of our affordability. So hopefully for those of you who that seems like an attractive option, please look into the credits for prior learning.
Can I just actually, Sheila, we should say something about the COVID-19 scholarship that we've created as well, which everyone who is in the process of applying for the fall should have gotten information from you about yesterday, right?
So thank you, Suri. So we have an additional 20% discount that we're offering for incoming undergraduates for their first 2 semesters who may have been negatively affected financially, which many of us have been through the COVID-19 pandemic. Loss of job, loss of income, change to financial circumstances. So some of you may have received an email. If you haven't, you can reach out to me afterwards and I can give you some more details. But in short, if you can prove that you have had a change in your financial circumstances, a negative change with a loss of job, or if you are have a family member who has had a loss of job and you're a dependent, we are offering that discount for the first 2 semesters. After your first semester, you will need to have a 3.0 GPA to qualify for the second semester of a 20% discount. But we, our intention is to offer support to our students because we make it a point to care about our students and their life circumstances, and we recognize that this is an incredibly unusual time. Sorry, do you have any? Okay. With our application process, for those of you who have not started, we make it incredibly simple on purpose. For those of you who haven't, if you look at the bottom of this screen, our link to our application is sopa.tulane.edu/apply. You will need to open up an application portal with your name and your email address. Our application is straightforward, but we are always here to answer questions for students who have any during the process. There is a $40 application fee, but because you have attended this webinar today, we will waive that for you. That's an automatic waiving process, so you should not need to take any additional steps. If for some reason you submit your application and you still get asked to submit the fee, simply email us. It is a very simple process for us to waive the fee. We also will need an image of a government issued ID, either a valid driver's license or passport. You can simply take a picture with a phone and upload that image, and then we will need transcripts sent to us, either from your high school if you're applying just out of high school, or if you have had some college experience, we'll need those transcripts as well. They can be either emailed to us electronically from the registrar office of the school from which you attended, or you can send those to us through the U.S. Postal Service. That process is a little bit delayed with COVID, the U.S. mail process, but we're working with students to complete applications as quickly as possible. So we have 3 semester starts during the year, and the deadlines for those applications are as follows. We are still accepting applications to start in the fall. That application deadline is August 1st. You still have time to apply, and we are reading applications every day. So if you're interested in starting in August, you still have time to submit your application. If you're looking forward to starting in the spring, in January, the application deadline is January 1. And if you are planning ahead for a summer start, that application deadline is May 15th.
So that's our presentation. We'll stay on to take any questions that you might have. You can either turn your mute off and speak, or put them in the chat box, again, at the bottom of the screen. Great. Well, again, we really appreciate your time today. We look forward to getting to know you during this admissions process. And, congratulations on considering going back to school. And we hope you will seriously consider doing it with us. Thank you. Have a good day.